So we continue a little bit with the teaching of bondage and freedom. So briefly, few points that we said yesterday. We said that we all know, although this is not taught to us at any time, that happiness is the goal of life. And we seek it in everything. And Swami Sivananda explains, he says, just like we cannot see our own back, the mind cannot see its own source. The mind means, in the yogic teachings, our instrument by which we experience, by which we know. Or what we call cognitions, the subject-object awareness, and we identify with the mind. We take the awareness to be only this subject aware of objects type of knowing, not recognizing that there is a light illuminating that individual knower, which is the source, which is what we are. But we are ignorant of that, like we cannot see our own back. But that source is of the nature of bliss. Bliss, the yogis say, means limitlessness. Like we say, it's not a mountain of pleasure. It is the point that nothing can taint, limit, condition, impact who we are. That's called bliss. Neither good nor bad. So that bliss irradiates the mind from the source, but the mind doesn't see it because the mind sees only outside. And so it feels that bliss, but looking outside, it interprets it as happiness. Happiness in objects. What is that happiness? So then we gave another analogy, like you see the ripples, the small waves in the harbor, reflecting the light of the sun. Right? There is one source of light reflecting in so many ripples. And there is glitter coming and going from the waves. Right? Now, we look at those ripples, we don't think that the ripples have, like electricity in them shining. We say, wow, this is very special. Right? We all know, we all look at it, and we have a clear understanding. One light reflects in all these ripples, and it comes and goes because it's relational. It has to do with its relationship to my eyes. When it moves, the glitter is gone. Or if I move, the glitter is gone. And the glitter immediately appears elsewhere, where now the angle of vision is reflecting to my eyes. That's all. So we know this. But the yogis say the same happens with the phenomena of happiness. One light, that limitlessness of the self, which is illuminating not from outside, it illuminates from behind our mind, the way we perceive the objects. And relative to how we experience ourselves to be limited, certain objects appear in our mind. It's purely imaginary. It's perception. Those objects appear to be able to remove my limitation in some way, right? Like the glory of the chocolate is the sweet tooth. You understand? Because we have a natural desire for sweets, inborn, we are born with it. It was shown, there is a video of a newborn baby, and they put sugar water dropper in the mouth of the baby. And then they take it out. The baby pounces at it immediately. Newborn. So, born sugar addicted. It's called sweet tooth. Okay, so relative to that sweet tooth, which is a what we call vasana. It's a sense of how I'm limited. Why I'm limited? I need sweets. Okay, naturally. Relative to that, sweets appear to be able to remove my sense of that certain limitation. And this is the glitter of happiness I see in that object. Not understanding. Looking at the object, I think this chocolate is really shining very powerfully. It's amazing. Let's check it out. Okay. So, not understanding that that my mind is shining on it. It's not the object. So the idea is that just like one sun reflects in all these waves, one self reflects in all objects of happiness because they appear to give me a sense of wholeness, completion, or limitlessness, which is my own nature. That's the source. The mind is feeling the source, but not knowing what it is. It interprets it in objects. But objects change. We change. And therefore, the glitter goes away. And when it goes away, it appears elsewhere, mysteriously. And then it goes from there and appears elsewhere. Okay, so because we don't understand happiness. So therefore, this is the bondage. Then we try to secure the object as if it is the source of the happiness. And what we call samsara begins. Okay, we are entering a process of securing something that inevitably we cannot stop seeking because it's our own nature, but totally in the wrong way. And it's not our fault, by the way. It's part of the plan. Something is happening here. Okay? We cannot know where it is or recognize it consciously unless we know, first of all, what it's not. It's a process. In any case, so the yogis say that the bondage has to do with ignorance of the true nature of who we are, that limitlessness. We experience ourselves to be a very limited person, knower, that everything is outside of me. Okay, so, and the mind is extroverted. It's moving towards the objects all the time. And the mind is selfish, which means because of this relational sense of self, this subject-object, it constantly tries to manipulate the circumstances to suit its own pleasure. Comfort, basically, right? Let my environment internally and externally be pleasing, comfortable, right? And this just binds us more and more to the sense that happiness is outside. Okay, so seemingly it serves my happiness, actually it serves my suffering. Okay? So the yogis call it avarana, the veil of ignorance, vikshepa, the extroversion of the mind, and mala, selfishness. Okay, so, and this is how we get bound. So how does it happen? So briefly, because the importance we said, you see, our mind, and that's very beautiful to understand, we don't need to convince our mind to move towards happiness. That's a given. The mind will always move towards happiness, towards perceived happiness. Okay? So the only problem is that the perception is not correct. That's all. If we correct it and we show the mind where happiness actually is, it will move there. We just need to show the mind where happiness is not, where happiness is. We don't need to train it to move towards happiness. It's already doing it obsessively, constantly. Every desire, is just for there. Okay? So, therefore, if we understand how am I bound, what prevents me from getting happiness, and it's very clearly understood, the mind will move away from that. Because the mind moves only towards happiness. So therefore the yogis say, the more clarity we have about how we are bound, the more successfully we will inevitably move towards freedom. That's all, because freedom is undoing the bondage. And if we will clearly understand that this is binding, how we are bound, not generally speaking, specifically, the mind will move away from that. It will put the effort to getting happiness in the wrong place towards disentangling itself from what prevents it from happiness. Okay, so therefore, the knowledge of what is bondage is at the foundation of becoming free. Now, so this avarana or ignorance means that we don't know our truth. So you see, we know who we are. We know I am, right? Everyone knows. But we say I am Swami Brahmananda, right? Or who you perceive yourself to be. Now the yogis say this is not true. How is it not true? They give an analogy. They say space is limitless by nature, right? All objects exist in the space. The walls of the bottle are in space. The walls of the room are in space. But we perceive space inside the bottle, inside the room. We say bottled space. There is no bottled space. Bottled space exists purely in the mind because of ignorance about the true nature of what I'm perceiving, space. Because I don't know what I'm perceiving correctly, my mind creates a false notion that space is inside this bottle. This bottle space is purely in the mind. There's no such thing. In the same way, I am, the yogis teach, and they explain very beautifully, is limitless. The I am is not in the body, nor is it in the mind, which means limited by thoughts, emotions, memories, and so on. It's not contained by mental things or physical things, right? But this is how we experience. We experience I am, and then covered by all the mental and physical properties. And this is a mistake very similar to this mistake. So the yogis say the I am limited to this mind and body exists purely in the mind because of ignorance about the true nature of the I am. That's called avarana. Then, because we are ignorant of that source of awareness, which illuminates the mind, causes the mind to be an instrument of knowing. The mind appears like it has its own knowership. The analogy the yogis give is the light of the moon. Right? We have a full moon. Right? So at night you look at the moon, you say, look how beautiful the moonlight is. It's so beautiful. And there is no moonlight. Moonlight is something which doesn't exist. Because moonlight is sunlight. It's not moonlight. But we look and we equate moon and light as one. In the same way, we look at our own mind and we equate mind and awareness as one. Although awareness comes from the source, illuminating the mind. The proof is that the mind is known to us. The mind is not really a knower because it's known. all of us are aware of the mind. Okay? So that's how we know, right? If someone is asking you, how is it going? You look at your mind, say, oh, this is how it's going. Right? So you report by looking at your mind. So the idea is that the mind is known, but we take it to be a knower, the source. The source is limitless. Okay? There is no bondage in it. But we take the mind to be the knower. And now what happens is something very nice. You see, there is a nice way to look at it. It's like that. You see, I have my glasses. Right? The glasses allow me to see objects, right? So, for example, let's say now I see you blurry, right? Now I put my glasses, I see you, right? So now, when I put my glasses, where is my attention going? To the objects, because the glasses are meant to reveal the objects. Now, when, let's say, I'm watching television or whatever, right, my glasses are on, the attention is outside on the objects the glasses are revealing to me. Now, when my attention is outside, can I tell the difference between my eyes and the glasses? See? Think about it. Your glasses, your awareness is on the screen. Can you tell what's happening here? Right? If you wear glasses, I'm sure it happened to you that you looked at the screen at night and your eyes were tired, and then you suddenly ask, where are my glasses? And then you, oh, this is as good as it gets. Right? You just need to get updated. Right? Okay, so the idea is that, right, because the attention is outside, we cannot tell the eyes and the glasses become as if one. You understand? Okay. In the same way, when our mind is outside in the objects, we cannot tell the difference between the source consciousness and the mind in which it is reflecting, the subject. That differentiation doesn't exist for us. So the yogis call it, we are not able to discern between self and non-self. The mind is the self for us, which is not true. Okay, and then selfishness comes. What is selfishness? The subject-object type of self is the reality. And if this is the reality, I'm constantly confronted with what the yogis call pairs of opposites. That's the nature of experience, pleasure and pain, success and failure, gain and loss, etc. And all my job is to see that the pairs of opposites are tilting to the pleasant side. And they go back to the painful side, and I need to push them to the pleasant side. And they go back to the painful side, and I need to push them back to the... That's all my job. Okay? I have a full-time job. Okay, so... And that's never going to work because those experiences are karmic results. There will always be pairs of opposites. And that's the wheel of samsara. Thinking that our happiness is in the world, and we are going to turn our world into a pleasant situation, is a binding vision. It puts all our effort outside, whereas the happiness, the freedom is inside. Inside means it's who we are. And we are feeding into a vision which creates this what is called rat race, or what the yogis call samsara. where we are feeding something that is just intensifying what we don't want. Not understanding that that's what we are doing. Okay? So if we understand this, we understand that the answer is to move within. We need to apply the yogic means, the yogic practices, in order to pull our attention more and more and more within, where the happiness, the freedom actually abides. This is the happiness we are all looking for. It's reflected in the objects. We are never looking for objects. It's an amazing thing. The reflected happiness in objects comes from me. My mind illuminates it. That source. Okay, so if we understand this, then we begin to understand where the solution is not. Solution means happiness. The world is very important to handle correctly, the yogis say, but not to find happiness in. If we want to find happiness in the world, it's not going to end well. Okay, the world is very important for our evolution, but not for finding happiness. The world actually will show us that happiness is inside, not in the world. For this, the world is very good. Okay? So the more we understand, the more we pull the mind within through the yogic practices, and we become more and more and more free. Okay? So this is a little bit about bondage and freedom. Om, 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om Bolo Sadguru Sivananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Swami Vishnu Devananda Maharaj Ki Jai.
Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning.